Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this radio illustration using Inkscape, and it's pretty easy to do, so let's get into it. First of all, you need to set up your workspace first, and to do that you can click this to open Fill and Stroke tab, and then you can click this to open Align and Distribute tab. Then make sure if it's last selected. And you need to download this color palette if you want to have the same color as I have right here. The file is in the description box. You can download it and then you can go to File and import the file. First of all, you need to grab the rectangle tool and then you can draw a rectangle like this. And I'm just gonna go to Selection tool to set up the width to be 302 and the height is gonna be 175. Don't forget to set it up on millimeters. And then I'm gonna make the corners to be rounded, so I'm gonna select the rectangle first and then I'm gonna go to rectangle tool. After that, by sliding this down like this, I have rounded corner like this. The next part is the speaker. To do that, I'm gonna grab a circle tool, and then by holding Ctrl and Shift, I'm gonna make a perfect rounded circle like this. I'm gonna color it green. After that, for the inner part of the speaker, I'm gonna duplicate that by holding Ctrl and D, and then I'm gonna color it yellow. After that, I'm gonna scale it down. Don't forget to hold Ctrl and Shift so we don't lose the shape of the circle. And I think that's good enough. The next part that I want to make is the button of the radio, and to do that I'm just gonna duplicate this speaker. Just gonna select both of them, and then by holding Ctrl and D I'm gonna duplicate that, and then I'm gonna move it right here and I'm gonna scale it down. Don't forget to hold Ctrl and Shift while scaling it down, and I think that's good. And I want to make this green part to be more thick. To do that, I'm just gonna make this yellow part to be smaller. I'm gonna scale it down too, and I think that's good. After that, I'm gonna grab rectangle tool and I'm just gonna make a rectangle like this, so it is kind of a pill shape. And then I'm gonna color it red so you can see it. Probably make it a little bit bigger, and then I'm just gonna put it right here, and I'm gonna select the red object first, and then I'm gonna hold Shift and click this yellow object. After that, I'm gonna click this to center on vertical axis, and it is centered with this yellow part. After that, I want to make this part, the part that show the frequency of the radio, and to do that I'm just gonna grab rectangle tool right here, and I'm just gonna draw a rectangle like this. I'm gonna go to selection tool and make the width to be exact 106, and the height is 33. After that, I'm gonna grab polygon tool, and then I'm gonna select regular polygon, make the corners 3 and round it 0, randomize 0. Then we make a triangle. Don't forget hold Ctrl and Shift, and we make an inverted triangle like this. After that, we go to selection tool and make the triangle to be narrower like this. And I think that's good. I'm probably gonna make it a little bit shorter. and I'm gonna color it yellow. After that, you can click this to flip selected object vertically. I'm gonna make it smaller. To scale it down, I'm just gonna hold Ctrl and Shift, and by holding left click mouse, I'm gonna slide down like this. And I want to make sure if it's right here, and to do that, I'm just gonna select this yellow part first, and by holding Shift, I'm gonna select the red part, and then I'm just gonna click this to align bottom edges, so it sits right here. To make the antenna of the radio, I'm just gonna grab rectangle tool, and I'm gonna draw a rectangle like this, and then I'm gonna go to selection tool first, so you can see the width and the height if you want to have the same size as I have right here. And then I'm gonna hold Ctrl and D to duplicate that. After that, I'm gonna hold Ctrl and slide it down right here, and I'm gonna make it longer. And to do that, I'm gonna go to edit path by nodes. After that, you can see right here, we can actually slide that down to make it longer. Don't forget to hold Ctrl so we don't lose the width of this rectangle. The next thing that I want to do is I'm gonna put this antenna right here. So I'm just gonna block all of them, and then I'm gonna group selected object. After that, I'm gonna deselect everything first. Then I'm gonna double click it so we have this rotation handle, and I'm just gonna rotate that to the right. And I'm gonna put it right here. And I'm gonna make this antenna to be below this purple object. And to do that, I'm gonna select the antenna first, and then I'm gonna click this to lower selection to bottom. So before we arrange the object like the example, I want to color it first. So I'm just gonna select this object, and then I'm gonna go to fill and stroke tab, and then I'm gonna use color picker. And that's it. The next part that we want to do is arranging this radio, and to do that, I'm gonna select this button first, and after block all of them, I'm gonna group that first, and I'm gonna click this until I can see the handle, and I'm just gonna tilt it that to the right like this. After that, I'm gonna duplicate this button, and to do that, I'm gonna hold Ctrl and D to duplicate that. After that, by holding Ctrl, I'm gonna move it to the right, and I think that's good. After that, I'm gonna select both of them, and I'm gonna group that by clicking this. After that, I'm gonna click this button, and I'm gonna go to Align and Distribute tab. After that, by holding Shift, I'm gonna select this rectangle first, and I'm gonna click this to center on vertical axis. And I want to make it closer with this part, so I'm just hold Control and slide that higher. After that, I'm gonna select these three objects and I'm gonna group them. After that, I'm gonna move it right here, and I want to make sure if it's centered with the speaker, so I'm gonna select it first, and then by holding Shift, I'm gonna select this purple circle, and then I'm gonna select center on horizontal axis. After that, I'm gonna select all of them, the speaker and all of this thing, and then I'm gonna group them first. After I group them, I'm gonna hold Shift and I'm gonna select the pink radio, and then I'm just gonna grab this to center on horizontal axis and then grab this to center on vertical axis. After that, I'm just gonna deselect everything, and that's it. If you like this tutorial, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.